well, my three older boys. So it was tough. I had three different levels that were so used to having a bell. So how I started with them, and mind you, I was also still in the group chats of the different levels with the mom. I also went crazy. At first you go crazy. It's just the honest truth because you're so used to depending on someone else to teach them. So what I did the time schedule for the three boys. Okay, sige. 8 o'clock, wake up, 9 o'clock, we start. Next subject, next subject. We did that. We did that probably the first 4 months. And then I was still in the chat groups where all the other moms were telling me, which they weren't telling me, I was just reading all their comments. Oh, did you do this assignment? Did you do this homework? Blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, oh my gosh. So I started calling, the best help that you have is the family advisors. You know, they're also parents, volunteer parents, some are teachers who are homeschool experienced. So when I reached out to my family advisor, I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And so what's the first thing she advised me? Mommy, you have to excuse yourself from those chat groups. That's what they're doing, and this is what you're doing now. Your children need you. They don't need you to be distracted. And I was like, okay, deep. And so I still tried to do the structure. And then after a while, I was getting to know my child, how their pace are, to the point we scratched. We totally threw away the timetable, and it was up to them telling me what subject they wanted to do each day. So until now, they're independent learning. And the luxury of homeschool also, you can hire tutors. You can have all these activities, Kumon, these other reading programs. It's not just you. You're not alone. And then the fun thing also is the co-op group. So it's you'll be placed in a group with other homeschool families, which is near your area. And it's up to you to meet once a week, twice a week. But a lot of the parents there are so active that one parent will do one subject, the other one will be the PE.
You call that a learning group, right?
Right. So it's like one day where they interact with other children, you know, that are also doing the same thing. And then from there, I mean, the community is so big now. I mean, we have the varsity teams now for basketball, for so with that, it's like you're going to school every other day. Because like if your child is part of the varsity, they practice 3 times a week. I'm sorry. And then from there's another group that you have. So it's fun. You know, you're just part of a family that is supporting you.
I just want to add, Mila, thank you for raising that question. I think I was in your shoes a year ago because I've been homeschooling for just 1 year now, and my daughter is in kinder. So it's a good thing that you know your why, because that's the very important foundation. If you have the why, then the how will follow. So I was placed in a position where I know that I have to homeschool. It's my only option. I don't know how to teach, or I don't know if I can teach. I don't have all the time in the world in order to do that. And yeah, I don't have structure. My husband knows that. So I hate structure, I hate process. Even falling in line, I have really, really little patience about that thing. So I am not the perfect homeschooler. But when I was placed in that situation, and my greatest motivation is, why I should homeschool. I want to bring out the best in my daughter. I want to make sure that she grows up with the right foundation based on my faith as a Christian. So I was surprised that I only needed to start it. So the great way is to really put yourself in that position. When you're in there already, when you're starting already, then the rest will follow. And I learned how to homeschool by really patterning everything on how my child learns. So Zia is really into arts. So if I give her a pen and a paper, she's not that interested in doodling. But if I give her a crayon or a watercolor, then she would doodle all around and write those words with me, write those letters with me, learn all the numbers in the world. And then, just like what Mafe said a while ago, she would be the one to really ask me to do homeschooling even more. The first session of homeschooling, I will not forget that, with Zia is, okay, we're done already. It's been 2 hours of studying. You can already go out and play, watch whatever you want to watch. No, Mommy, I still want to homeschool. Can we homeschool even more? So ako na yung humihindi. Ako na yung, teka muna, nakibukas pa. Diba? So, if I will encapsulate everything that I said, just start. So when you start, you'll have, you can already take it from there. And when you find yourself in that position when you're not sure if you're doing the right thing, Homeschool Global has these support groups that can give you the kind of advice and support that you need in order to become a better homeschooler. So there will be a lot. It's not that easy, I'll be honest. It's simple, but it's not that easy. But it will be worth everything. It will be worth the decision. So if I were in your position, just start. That's everything that matters.
I have something to add because they've said so wonderful things about how to do it. But you are the best person who understands your child. Between the school, regular school, and you, the best option would be you. You understand your child, you know how to relate well to your child, especially that, do I hear you right, they're SPED. So you understand them better, more than any other person in the world. So that's your edge, actually. That's your edge for them. So with their tips and plus my tips, I hope we answered your question.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? And that's right. I read this article about this doctor who spent a lot of time with family and spent a lot of time with children. And he mentioned how even if parents don't talk to their children for a whole day or even for a whole week, even if they don't utter a single word to them, but as long as the child is able to observe how the parent converses with other people, how the parent moves in the house, his mannerisms, his habits, what's actually happening is that there's a painting that's being drawn on the empty canvases of the child's heart and of the mind. And this is a medical study done on a child's brain. And it's only specific, not to friends or not to any other family members, but the immediate family. And so this is like a superpower granted, I believe, by God to parents, because really the parent is the only one able to influence a child in that particular way. So in light of that, because we've asked questions about how that has impacted you and the parents, I would like to move on to how it impacts the child now, especially in the academic realm, right? So how do children learn academically in the homeschool arena? Because of course there's a shift between learning in conventional school and homeschool, because in a conventional school setup where I used to come from, there was a teacher, there was a facilitator guiding the discussions, literally just giving out the information. How does it differ in the homeschooling area, and what's your role in that learning, in the academic? How do you nurture that? How do you continue on?
Academically, I think the good thing is, with the help of Homeschool Global, you already know the objective of the year. So for example, for Zia, since she's kinder, she has basic areas of learning that she needs to focus on. The beauty of being in a homeschool environment academically is you get to really focus I get to really focus on Zia's strengths and areas of improvement. Because what I noticed is, being in a regular setup, it has to be the same pacing for all. So if the child is a slower learner compared to the rest, then she would have this lie in his head na, I'm not smart enough. But hindi naman talaga totoo yun, di ba? It's just that the child has a different learning curve versus the others. The beauty of homeschooling is I get to focus more on Zia's strengths and her areas of improvement. And I really get to help her progress from one point to another, not basing it on any comparison, but herself only. Kumbaga, outdoing what she has already done previously. So, academically, it helps her really learn what needs to be learned. And yung pacing kasi ni Zia, she's a very fast learner. So I get to also tailor fit the way I teach her. If she's already done with this lesson, then we can already proceed with the next lesson. So she gets to really spend a lot of, kumbaga she gets to really, spend her time in a more efficient way, learning. And then if she has extra time, then pwede pa niyang gawin yung mga ibang bagay na gusto niyang gawin, which makes her better, not only academically, but also with her other areas of interest, like arts. Zia is very into arts, and young as she is, she already knows that she wants to be a fashion designer. So I wasn't like that when I was 6 years old. I really don't think the way she thinks right now when I was 6. And I would attribute it to the kind of learning environment that we have now, which is homeschooling. If she's not homeschooled, then maybe she wouldn't be at that level of learning already.
I mentioned that my children came from conventional school. So in conventional school, they were required to memorize stuff, memorize things, and the learning, it was like they didn't want to learn, they didn't want to go to school. But when we homeschooled them, I didn't have to enforce them to memorize. I just said, okay, I just want you to read and understand. And as they learned to, as we kept on doing that, reading and just understanding what they've read, they eventually learned. Like my son, my eldest son, he can read the entire book in a day, like a science book, because now he's not required to just memorize stuff, but because he loved what he was reading. When I ask him questions, he's able to answer me because there's a spark of interest. It's not enforced. You have to memorize this. What are the different parts of the body? What are different, because it's there. It's in the he's already interested in it. So if you spark the interest, then you don't have to worry about him memorizing, because that's already in there.
Yeah, it goes back to the love language again. I mean, for me, it goes as simple as like I said, I like for them to communicate. So let's say for our first chapter, we have a question and they don't understand it. We will get it until they understand, because the labels are there. It's always kids are labeled too fast. I believe in the normal school where if you get an A, B, C, D, F, whatever, it sticks to you. Like, oh, I failed that subject because my teacher said so. In this one, you have the luxury and the flexibility of, okay, we're going to get this question until you get it. It doesn't matter until it goes all day or tomorrow, until you get it. And then the self-confidence, the confidence from the child is enhanced. I go to the lengths as, hey guys, the answer is at the back of the book. Go ahead and look. And then you tell me how you got it. It's a nor and a money. The answer is there, yes, it's there, but for you to understand it and for you to talk about it is different. So the difference I see in homeschooling is that children become more passionate in learning because they believe in themselves, that they get it. And that's one thing I look back, like, my goodness, I couldn't get that question. And my teacher didn't wait for me because she was already fast-forwarding her teacher's guide. Here naman, we are the teachers. We are the main influence. So we want our child to be successful. One experience from my friends from the old school, when Nico, he graduated for college, there was a lot of moms that were very sad because some of their children went to college, were calling them nonstop because they were so scared. They didn't know where to go, they didn't know what to do because they were so used to a bell. Honestly, homeschooling, how I see it, is training for college, training for the real world. Why not train your child at an early age on how to be confident, how to be independent and responsible? So once they get there, when we are not inside or we don't hold their hand anymore, kaya na nila. We have that confidence. So now he comes home and tells me, Mom, I have these students who are like 20 plus and they're so lazy. They don't even know what to do in their class. So he's doing all the work. And I'm like, you know what? Don't compare yourself with that, because this is what we did. This is what we did for you to be sure of yourself when you get there. And now you're there. Now you have a mature mind on how to understand other people and how to make yourself succeed even more without having to, be distracted with the negative.
And this is Nico, right? This is Nico.
It's right
He's right there,
Say hi,
right?
Nico.
This is Nico. Hey, Nico.
To add with that,